This is the plaintiff, Michael Jarrell. He says he did a good deed for a guy in need and laid out money for a new TV for the defendant because he was in a rough spot. He also bought stuff for his baby. The defendant promised to pay him back $50 a month, but hasn't. So here they are, as hard as it is for him. He's suing for $1,094.30 for the TV, a baby car seat, baby food, and baby clothes. This is the defendant, Drew. He says the plaintiff was sweet on his cousin and was going out of his way to get over with her. The guy offered to get him the TV to impress his cousin, and that's gross because he's like 60 and she's only 23. When she rebuffed his sexual advances, he got mad and all of a sudden started demanding money for the TV. Oh, him? No way. He's accused of taking, but not giving. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $500 for harassment.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Millian in our forum, the People's Court.
Be seated. Come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas. Michael Jarrell, you are suing Drew. You've asked us not to mention your last name for $1,094.30 for a TV that you say he owes you for, plus a car seat and some baby items. You have a counterclaim against him for $500 for harassment. All right, let's talk about your claim against him first. How did you come to buy this man a TV?
First of all, he was less fortunate than I am. And by being a Christian, doing to others as you had them do unto you. And on top of that, ma'am, is that we have an army saying, liberate the oppressed. There it is right there. I didn't want to see him down. He needed a television.
Nobody needs a television.
He needed
No,
one.
people need to eat.
Oh, yes, ma'am. All that
Okay,
too.
people don't need a television.
Yes, ma'am.
But so you felt that he was less fortunate than you, and out of
Yes,
the goodness
ma'am.
of your Christian heart, you decided to buy him a television?
No, when he asked me.
What did he ask you?
Yeah, he said, Mike, could you look out for him to get me a television? I said, all right, Drew. If I
How
do.
come I cannot? Hey, can you look out for me and get me a television?
Somebody, as soon as somebody gets one for me, I'll get
Then
one.
you get one for me.
Get one for
Okay,
you.
how does that not happen to me? Does that happen to anybody else? Like you just walk around asking people for there had to be what was the deal? Like how were you guys good friends?
Yeah, we was friends, ma'am.
Okay, according to him, you were wooing his cousin. You were trying to go out with his cousin.
No, ma'am.
Okay,
No, ma'am. We was friends. She was like a daughter to me. And that's how he came into the play. The other stuff is obsolete. You know.
Obsolete?
Yeah, there was no wooing or none of that.
No, nothing. You weren't
no,
trying to date his cousin.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
It was like father. She was less fortunate too. That's where I made my mistake at, Your Honor.
What was your mistake with her?
They're trying to help people that's
Okay.
less fortunate than
How
than
much
myself.
money did you funnel his cousin's way in your effort to help the less fortunate?
I can't count that, ma'am. You don't put a price tag on friendship.
Well, you did. It's $1,094.30. What do you mean?
I know what you mean, no, but not
here,
like
aren't
that,
I?
ma'am.
All right, and if you were trying to help the less fortunate, you were trying to help them by what? Giving them a loan, I guess. That's why you're here suing?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so according to you, the agreement is that you would buy him a TV, and what would he do?
He should pay me back $50 a month, which he did.
All right, so what day did you buy the TV?
February 26th.
Of what year? This year?
Last year.
Last year. Okay. And when did you file this lawsuit?
I just filed it in September.
And so did he ever pay you $50?
No, ma'am. Okay.
What is it that's going on here with this TV?
Basically, I had called my cousin Alex to take me to errands so I could rent a TV. I asked her to give me a ride because he was lending her his car and he was gonna also purchase her a car. He showed me a $16,000 check that he was gonna purchase her a car. So
Did he purchase her a car?
no, because she wouldn't have sexual relations with him.
Okay.
So, and I have her letter right here. She couldn't
me
be
see
here
her
today.
letter. Go on.
And so I called her and I asked her, can she bring me to Aaron so I could rent a TV?
Aaron rents.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she pulls up to my apartment with him in the car.
I'm sorry, you were gonna go rent a TV.
From Aaron's.
So how much money did you have in your pocket?
I had $300 in my pocket.
Okay, why don't you just go to Walmart and buy a TV for the $300 you have? Because you had to have some big screen TV that you couldn't afford?
Basically, I was gonna rent it. I couldn't afford it if I rented.
So, yeah, but you were gonna rent it, so you're gonna put $300 down and then rent it. You think that's a good deal? Renting to own, you think that's a good deal?
I mean,
you know the kind of suckers they take on that? I mean,
basically, like he said, I'm less fortunate, so I can't go out there
but
and
you may
buy
be less
it.
fortunate in the head. I mean, but if you got $300 in your pocket for the luxury of a TV, why don't you just live within your means? That's not a matter of, quote, less fortunate. Less fortunate are people who don't know where their meal is coming from, okay? Drew asked me to take him to rent a television from Aaron's at the time. Sergeant Michael. He's Sergeant Michael?
Yeah, that's what we call him, Sarge.
Because he was in the service?
Yes, ma'am.
Took the ride with us to go rent the television. We get to Aaron's and we were looking around the store and Sergeant said to Drew, we don't rent things, we buy them. Well, I gotta agree with that. Drew then said to Sergeant, I don't have the money to buy the television I want right now. Sergeant said, don't worry about it. Your family with Alex, you don't have to worry about it. Then we went to Sears and Sergeant bought a 50-inch 50-inch television for Drew. He never said to Drew that he had to pay him back for buying him the television. Drew then why are you accepting, you grown man, accepting a TV from another grown man? Because you could? The answer is because you could?
I mean, I said no at first, and he demanded it, so...
Drew then thanked him over and over again for what he did for him and his family. Okay. So you have a 50-inch TV, and you don't have to pay a penny for it because it was a gift from him because he's trying to get into your cousin's pants.
Right.
Okay. When did he first, according to you, start demanding money for the TV?
Actually, I don't remember the day, but the night she spent the night at his house and he was trying to have sexual relations with her, she had left and called me that night and told us what happened. So I say like a week later, he started asking about
Right, but that was when in relation to the purchase of the TV? A week later, a month later, 5 months later?
I say like a week later.
A week later?
Yeah.
So a week later, he said to you what?
He said, I need that $300 for my TV now or whatever. So I'm like, why
Why $300?
Because I told him that's what I had in my pocket the day we went to Aaron's. I was going to give him the $300.
Okay.
He said, no, keep your money in your pocket.
So he was, according to you, he was playing big man on campus that day.
He called himself the $1,000 man.
Do you call yourself the $1,000 man?
No, ma'am.
Where does that phrase come from?
I don't know.
Okay, and according to you, he calls himself that. Why?
Because he got money. He drives. He driving around. One time I was driving with him. He hit somebody in the back. Got out the car to see if it was okay and gave them a $50 bill.
Okay.
It's like he's just throwing away money.
No, but he calls himself the $1,000 man?
Yeah, that's what he called himself.
How do you know that?
He told me that.
Oh, he told you. All right. So now you're also suing for a baby car seat and baby clothes and Similac for me. Tell me about that.
But that, although they riding in my car, by law, you can't have a little baby riding in your car without a car seat.
Okay, so don't have the baby ride in your car.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
But I don't understand. What did you do?
So I purchased a baby seat because everybody was friends and family in the beginning, quote unquote. So I'm trying to look out for them.
Okay.
And so I get smacked in the face, ma'am. Hey, I done learned my lesson about letting people money.
Can I tell you? You know how I live my life? I don't buy my friends, and
Yes,
then I don't have to worry that they're with me for the money.
Yes, ma'am.
I make them pay their way.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
that way, it's really an equal friendship. That's what I've always done. Like I just don't, I don't want to think anybody hangs around with me because, what I consider less fortunate are people who are struggling, who don't know where their next meal is going to come from. Not somebody who really, really wants a 50-inch TV and can't get it. That's not less fortunate.
I mean, all that's an equation too.
Yeah.
All that's an equation.
Right, so,
I didn't have food and all this.
I don't understand. Your original lawsuit never had anything about a car seat or baby formula or any of that. So you bought. Why does he have to pay you for it now? If you bought it because you're all friends. Was there ever an agreement that he was going to pay you for that?
No, ma'am.
Right. Okay. So now, as to the TV.
Yes, ma'am.
Was there ever an agreement that he was
Yes,
going to pay?
ma'am.
All right. Can you say there was never an agreement.
agreement.
Your cousin sides with you, not surprisingly. Do you have anything to prove that there was an agreement for him to pay you back?
Not
For
just by
example,
word of mouth.
a text, an email,
No.
a witness, a payment, that he made one payment.
No.
Nothing.
None of those above, ma'am.
Now, you have a counterclaim against him for $500. What is that for harassment? What's that about?
Well, he's in the Army, and he had told me one time when I came to his house to talk to him that he could see me through his base through satellites. I'm not in the Army. I don't know if it's true. It freaked me out. Then he calls me because I had an incident in my house. He calls me and say, "What is going on in your house?" Like, that right there really freaked me out.
Wait, what did he say?
He said he could watch us through the satellites, through his base, wherever he goes for the Army. Through his base, he could watch through my house and see what I'm doing.
You think the Army base is looking at you?
Man, Judge, to be honest, I'm not in the Army, and yesterday I was talking to my friend, and he said you could actually go on Google Earth and look on satellites and see through people.
All right, listen. So why are you suing for $500?
Because he's harassing me. Like, I can't even have sexual relations with my fiance because I don't know if he's looking at me or not.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. So I'm giving you guys an option. Either rent a 50-inch big screen TV or you can buy a 27-inch television set.
I think I'd buy it
Why?
because I want to own it. I don't want to be throwing money away and renting something
But you got half the screen.
but I want to own it.
What do you think?
I say you rent the big one.
Why?
I run with a crew called the Ciroc Boys, and you bring them over, impress them, they're going to come back, get more Ciroc, know what I'm saying?
I actually know what you're saying. It really bothers me, but I know what you're saying.
Why would you want a small TV when you can have a big one?
Because you're throwing money down a rat hole when you're renting it.
Well, it's not like we can see the small one.
God, what an attitude. I'm sorry I feel that way going inside the courtroom.
He's thrown off your mojo. That's
He's
why
thrown
you're
off
suing him for
everything. Like,
$500. Your
I don't
mojo's
even-
only worth $500.
I don't even like to be over at that apartment no more. Because I really think he's watching me.
Okay. All right. Well, I would love to award you the $500 so you can use it for therapy, but that does not a lawsuit make on your counterclaim 0. And on your claim against him, you're the plaintiff who comes into the courtroom with a burden of proof. You've got a situation where you say, I did not throw money his way because we were friends or I was trying to impress a young girl. I loaned him money. He says, oh no, he threw money at the girl, he threw money at me, he threw money at the car seat and the baby formula, he threw money everywhere, he's money bags, he's, the $1,000 man, he's a show off, and it was a gift, and since it was a gift, I don't have to pay him anything. I need you to prove your case, because you're the plaintiff who comes into the courtroom with the burden of proof. I need to see something.
One thing I have with my receipts.
No, that proves you bought a television set, which is exactly what he says. Yeah, he bought me a television set.
Yes.
I need to see proof of the loan, whether it's, God forbid, a promissory note, where if somebody grabs the nearest crayon and the nearest roll of toilet paper and says, I owe you, God forbid. But if you don't have that, something to prove up your version versus his, like a text or an email or a witness or an affidavit from a witness, something. But you've got nothing. Absolutely nothing. And I do show you showering items you don't expect to get paid for because A, you've admitted in court, and B, you didn't originally sue for it, and then now claiming that it's a loan and that you need to be recompensed for it. I just say can't do it. Based on this evidence, I rule in favor of the defendant. And on your countersuit, 0.
Okay, so the plaintiff comes out here, sir. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you,
thank
sir.
you for your service.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. What about this case here? What have you learned out here?
I learned that you should, don't help people that's less fortunate than you. You get beat every time.
Really?
Can't do street justice, right?
No.
Can't do street justice.
No.
So I'm going home then to my new home with a swimming pool in the backyard.
All right.
Let him go back to the projects.
Let me ask you one last question before you go.
Yes, sir.
You have a moment?
Yes.
All right. The story he's talking about with spying on him with the satellites, and can you actually watch him?
Well, you know what? You got to be special forces to know about that.
Oh, you can't. Okay, all right.
Okay, out here.
All right, sir. All the best.
All right, thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. All right, step on in here. You didn't win on your countersuit either, but what do you make of the situation here with him?
I'm just happy the judge saw it wasn't what he think it is.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I wish him the best. My cousin is happy. She's married with a baby on the way, and all best of luck to him. And yes, I will be going back to the projects.
All right. Harvey?
But you know, it's really simple. Based on the plaintiff's conduct, everything looked like gifts.